Hello and welcome everyone to the webinar from Move to Impact. I see people dropping in at the moment. I'm letting everyone in. Good afternoon, everyone, to the CSRD, how to become a CSRD expert. So nice to see you all here.
Ja, ik doe mijn geluid.
So I would ask everyone to mute themselves at the moment and say hi in the chat. Welcome everyone to the webinar on how to become a CSRD expert and how to implement it in your company. Very amazing to see all of you here and participating. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Skadi Mobius. I'm Managing Director of Move to Impact, and I'm happy to tell you today more about the implementation of CSRD, especially for experts in the field, since we are now busy for 3 years on implementing everything with CSRD. So I'm going to share my screen in a second to show you my presentation and to tell you more. The session today is especially indeed like for experts. So if you're like a change consultant, if you're a sustainability consultant or an internal consultant or manager within a CSRD company that needs to comply to CSRD, this session is especially for you. Obviously, everyone else is very welcome for this session today as well. Seeing people dropping in from left and right, so that is good to see. Maybe you can say in the chat very shortly whether you are really like an external consultant, so a change or sustainability consultant, or you are an internal consultant or manager, basically within a company. If you could say that quickly in the chat, so I get a little bit a better idea what the biggest group basically is. So then I can give you a little bit more examples, especially for these groups, or to like see where you're coming from. So nice. Before starting, I will tell a little bit like what we are going to talk about today. So we will talk about today, especially indeed like about the implementation process itself, and in that is really like so. Indeed, like which companies need to be CSRD compliant. What is our method basically to put us in the position to tell you a little bit more, and our experience also about that, and especially also our 8 phases. And then I will tell more about our tooling, which we developed for CSRD, our virtual CSRD consultant, and also the CSRD certification program for implementation managers, and how would that be interesting basically for you, and what are dates basically on that to show you when you could join us in these certification trainings, and also what kind of tooling maybe would be interesting for your company. I see a lot of indeed like notes in the chat of like internal consultants, external consultants. I see a good mixture indeed in that. So that's good to see. After the session, because we get obviously a lot of questions as well about that, is that you get the recording of the webinar today, but also the slides. So that is no problem. Obviously, you will get that. Amazing. So let's get started, and let me share my screen with you on what we are going to talk about today. Give me a second. Yes, perfect. Amazing. Okay, Let's start then. So we, from Move to Impact, have a combination within our team of sustainability and data consultants. We chose for this combination because we see within the CSRD implementation, it's important to really have these two combinations together because CSRD obviously is the implementation of financial, social, and ecological reporting all together in one. The financial part had like 60 years to develop and to be implemented in the market. And the social and the ecological aspect now has like 3 to 5 years to be implemented in the market. That's why we from Move to Impact believe very much that it's important to have scalable tooling programs to get basically all the consultants like you out there, either in the companies or external of the companies, really ready to support all the companies out there that need to make this change. And this change doesn't really only mean the sustainability change to understand this law, but also to really do the implementation in getting all the data and also setting up the reporting. So even if other consultants say, oh yes, we do the reporting, that doesn't mean that the implementation actually of like where the data is coming from, how you can structure the teams around it, who is talking to who, this is all not included when they say, oh, we do the reporting for CSRD. The implementation is not there. That's why we see it's important that the data and sustainability consultants come together. We combined that in a team and developed these program and tools together. Very shortly, I will go in onto the criteria on which companies need to fulfill CSRD or need to be compliant to CSRD. These are companies with 2 out of the 3 criteria, which you can see below. This is either a company with 250 employees or more, a total balance of 20 million, or a revenue of 40 million. So if you have 2 of these criteria or clients which have 2 of these criteria, they need to fulfill and comply towards CSRD. So the companies which already need to comply to are the critical companies like insurances or banks, basically. These directly have to report already beginning of next year and therefore have to pick and collect the data this year, so in 2023. So always when you hear a company has to be compliant in 2026 or 2028 or like now in 2024, always the year before the company needs to pick the data and collect the data so that they actually can put the report together because it's included in the year report. So that's important to understand about that. So you really need indeed like a year to 1.5 years preparation for a company to be compliant, be able to put a report for CSRD out. Another reason why we really believe in the power of connecting all of you and supporting all of you in the CSRD consulting area is that in Europe there are 50,000 corporate companies that need to comply within the next 5 years. This is a too big market for just a single company or freelancers or any consultant itself to do it by themselves. So it's important to connect and really learn together and bring flexible tooling and support out for all of you and for all these companies, because there's just not enough resources out there to completely fulfill all the needs for the companies. This is just the start, obviously. This is just the corporate companies within the next 3 years that have to comply with CSRD. So you have to think after that, in 28, approximately, the EFRAG, the law doesn't say when the medium-sized companies have to start yet, but we assume in somewhere at 27, 28, they also have to start to comply with CSRD. So then there's even a bigger market, basically, and much more companies that have to comply with CSRD. So therefore, the power of the connection and supporting each other in that is very important, and we see as the only opportunity out there. Our experience in the last 3 years is reaching from very big, like global groups, like for example, Dutch Flower Group. They do the import and export of the flower industry, basically in the Netherlands, which have 18 companies in there. Big clothing companies like Rougher Trading, they have like 10 companies under their label. But also we have many more companies which we are supporting, like for example, LVNL, Mazars, Colgate, Anne and Max. So we are in very different organizations and companies which we really have, all the information of the different sectors, and we work with all the sectors together. And all the tooling which we developed is really based on a broad audience, so as well for product companies as also for service companies. Please also, while going through the presentation, write your questions in the chat below, so that if you have something which you think like, oh, I don't understand it, or so, pop it in and I can take it along. Otherwise, at the end of the presentation, I will also go in a little bit more on your questions. Okay. What you see here now are our 8 phases, or our methodology, which we developed to integrate and implement CSRD in a company. These are very, in that sense, broad steps to really the reporting, really from the beginning of the project preparation towards the reporting of CSRD. One of the key elements for us, which we integrated in here, is the impact dashboard, which is the second last step. That means that you collect a lot of data and you set up a lot, and it would be a little bit not only a waste of time, but it can create a win-win situation if you not only use this data for CSRD reporting, but also for your own impact dashboarding. So if you put social, ecological, and financial data next to each other for a client, and really can show them on how they can improve, especially for change consultants, that is an interesting part, that you can really show your clients then on where they have to or where they can improve and what kind of targets they can set. That is also something which you don't see in here. You don't see the how can a company change and how can a company improve. That is because we, as Move to Impact, we are very much focused on the training, the tooling, the implementation part, and setting up, for example, dashboarding and the data support part, but not on the change part. That's why we also believe in all of you to really set the targets with the companies together and do the change process. Because if we would focus also on the change process, we would spread ourselves very thin and would need to be an expert on the agriculture market and know like all the targets and precise things in there, or we would need to know in the fashion industry all the details in there. In that sense, we really can focus on the implementation, on the compliance of the law, and also on the auditing trail, which is very important for a company. And here, because at the end of the implementation and the CSRD reporting, obviously the auditor has to sign off basically on the CSRD report, and therefore an auditing trail, so an understandable path basically and data process needs to be implemented within a company, so that really an auditor can see, oh, this is why you made this decision in the beginning, or this is where the data is coming from. That it's very understandable for them, because especially auditors have been busy with dealing with data and with financial overviews, and that was very black and white in that sense. But social and ecological parts are not so black and white, and therefore it's very important for them to have like clear and structured steps and processes where also data or quantifiable results are coming out, so that they can approve or not approve basically of the CSRD report. And that is what we all basically took into consideration in this process. I will go now step by step through this process. So this process, the implementation process, is connected from 3 phases. The first phase is the design phase, which means that a company has to understand what is what they have to report on for the CSRD. So with that, it's that you design a process on how to tackle it, the scope of the project for your company, the team that comes together, and the project preparation, the current company KPIs. So where are you with the company at the moment? What kind of projects are going? What do they want to reach? But also which targets do they have at the moment? So really pick them up from where they are at the moment. Then you move on to the materiality analysis. To be precise, it's a double materiality analysis. And double materiality analysis means that you really measure the impact on ESG level and from the ESRS, the European Sustainability Reporting Standards. These are the rules of the CSRD. I know I'm probably overwhelming you right now with short approximations, but these are the rules to ESRS. So you measure basically with the materiality analysis, double materiality analysis, what the impact of the company is on ESG level towards social and ecological aspects on a positive and negative side, but also what kind of impact does the social and ecological environment has on the company. So which risk and opportunities has a company through these like impacts of social and ecological developments in the world. So really the global changes in the world. That has to be done in a very structured way because the ESRS, that's what you see afterwards, are the indicators, the rules of the CSRD, and they need to be followed. These are the rules, and these are 12 law books. And these 12 law books have to be followed. The standard in that sense is really to do the double materiality analysis. And then there are topics on ESG level, on ecological, social, and governance topics within a company that have to be asked basically within a company for the materiality analysis. So when you have done the materiality analysis, you know which kind of topics have to be included in your CSRD report. So that's why we say we explain in the next step the ESRS indicators and KPIs, what you can measure and what you have to basically comply to with CSRD. Then in the implementation phase, you know therefore what you have to report on. And then you can connect basically your own KPIs as a company with the disclosures and KPIs basically from the ESRS, and really set basically your golden list of requirements. That's how we call it internally, golden list of requirements together that you really say, oh, this is what we all have to measure. It's quite a list. It starts with 1,141 disclosures. That could be information like pure data that needs to be picked up. So how much CO2 or footprint do you have? That could be policies. So material policies like whistleblower policies, all different policies or sourcing policies that need to be implemented within your company. That can be targets that need to be set up, or also processes that needs to be described. And then you start with the data collection. So you see already that it's quite a big step here in the implementation phase. That's why I said, like, if a company comes or a consultancy comes and says like, oh, I do the reporting for CSRD, that doesn't mean that they do also the implementation. Then they will just say, oh, here, this is what you have to fill in, a little bit like with CO2 tooling most of the times. They say like, oh, can you fill in all this data? But you still have to do your own work as a company to get all the data. That's where we also come in for the data collection and measuring. We have overviews of questions for surveys and requests of data from your internal and external stakeholders, so that you can in a standardized way ask these information and don't have to pick them up by hand, so that also a computer or like an SAP system, which will come or an Exact Online can actually ask you for that, and you can provide this data in that way. So therefore, you see, it's really like the implementation phase is quite a challenge for most of the companies. And then as the third phase, the reporting phase, is really setting up your impact dashboard so that you can use the data as a company themselves on social, ecological, and financial aspects, but also then do the CSRD reporting, put all the documents together, which you worked on in the last 7 phases, and send it up. It needs to be reported in a specific file change in XBRL, and that needs to be uploaded basically for the government and for the auditing. I see some questions in the chat. One is like, does ESRS have guidelines for stakeholder engagement during the materiality assessment? Indeed, the engagement of the stakeholders are very vaguely formulated for the materiality analysis. It doesn't have a specific engagement part, so in which way they have to be engaged. So therefore the law is sometimes like very concrete, but also in that sense very vague, because indeed for the materiality analysis it's asked to engage stakeholders, but not in which way. However, the materiality analysis, especially on the implementation part, talks also about the idea or the need to have opportunities and risks in place, and to have also mitigation plans, which you have to set up as a company. That means that if you haven't talked or really didn't have like interviews or haven't talked with your external stakeholders about the results of your materiality analysis, and haven't talked with them of like how to go forward and really create strategies together, it becomes very weird, because you as a company, or you advise a company to put a mitigation plan together, or to do a specific action without actually consulting your most important stakeholders. So I always advise to talk with them about the results of the materiality analysis, best even like include them directly in the materiality analysis, which we have as a survey tool, but also to have interviews with the most important ones to really engage them in the action planning and strategizing. Yeah. Then I see the question in the chat: how do you deal with the impact from the subsidiaries of an EU-based company which are operating in non-EU countries? Indeed, we are working, for example, with Steve Madden on that. They are one of our clients, which is precisely in that way, that they have like a European-based subsidiary in that case. And the idea is that the subsidiary company, the European company, does the CSRD reporting, and the company outside of the EU includes this report within their sustainability reporting. That is what is at the moment said basically about these parts. From 2028 onwards, under specific conditions, the non-EU company also has to comply to CSRD. But to that, Edward, you can also directly talk to us and write us an email about. So if that answers your question, let me know. Okay, so moving forward for how to implement and what kind of tooling we give you. So you can see here that we have really tooling for the whole implementation process. So we have in the beginning a CSRD quick scan where we really can check on the HR, IT, operational level basically, but also on the financial level, so HR and financial level. How is the company doing? How good are they prepared or not? And on what kind of percentage can you think is the company already prepared for CSRD? Then we have automated materiality analysis survey and also dashboard to it, so that you have like all the questions based on ESRS that's within our materiality analysis survey, and also directly a dashboard afterwards over the results of it. Furthermore, we have also all the ESRS data disclosures mapped out, so that the 1,141 data points, that you get an overview. These data points we already sent in the beginning of the implementation to the data team already of the company, so that they can prepare. This is a very important step, because most consultants at the moment don't prepare the data team in the beginning. But you see from the connecting KPIs and measurement point, is it that the data and IT team actually has to create and has to put together a support system, like data warehouses, data lakes, where all the information is coming together, getting sorted in the right way, so that it can be uploaded, for example, in an SAP system or an Exact Online. So that is a very important part. And these departments most of the time have a backlog, so a waiting time of new projects of half a year or a year. So therefore, you really need to give that to them in the beginning, so that they have a better understanding what is coming. Otherwise, actually, the data and IT costs for a company will rise up. That's why it's so important to share this knowledge also with you, and to really spread the word about it, that really the data and IT team needs to be supported in the beginning. Furthermore, we also have templates about policies and processes that needs to be documented for CSRD, so that you don't have to think about, oh, what kind of policy do we have to set up and how does it look like? No, you get the templates and you have to adjust it to your context of your company, basically. Furthermore, we also have the interactive impact dashboard, where we really much like put all the data parts for CSRD in, but that it's connected then basically on your server, so that we don't have your data, but that the structure basically is already there, and you can have your own impact dashboard and can click around within the CSRD data, so that it's not only in Excel sheets or surveys or other template formats or for the government in there, but really like in your own overview. The last part is the reporting template. So really much like there are 12 ESRS books, and we have all 12 reports mapped as templates, so that you can fill them in, and that you have a first view basically on how a CSRD report actually should look like, or what the structures are of there. All of these things, and also the templates, are created by sustainability, data, and also auditing experts, so that you really know that the auditing trail and everything is really much supported. We also give, for example, trainings on audit for auditors, so that they know how to actually deal with this process, because they also don't know. So we really advise to also take them along in your consulting journey with the company, so that they are not just like included like at the very last, but that they are included at the moment that, for example, the materiality analysis reports are done, so that they have a better understanding what is going on. I see questions in the chat, so let me have a look at them. Edward asked, like, so why do we need to prepare for 1,000+ data points? It's not that you have to prepare all of them. From the part, basically, from the results of the materiality analysis, you can cross topics off, basically. But it's not that it's only a handful of topics anymore. It's really much like a list, especially, for example, for fashion companies. I think it will be nearly all of the data points that need to be picked up. We prepared all of the data points, so that your company, depending on where it is and what material topics you have, that you can have an overview, or that your clients can be supported in that as well. Okay. The question is also, where are the data stored from the tools? All our tools are not tools in the IT terminology world, so that all the data is coming to our service, so that all the tools are implementation tools. So they are templates, or in that sense, for the materiality analysis, they are dashboards that are connected to your own company, so, or to the client's company, basically. So it's really not that they are like stored from us or in any weird cloud. It's really like on the customer base side. Yeah. And the last question I see is like, are there sector-specific KPIs for CSRD already known for the chemical industry? At the moment, not. They will all come out at the 30th of June so far in 2024. These sector-specific standards, it's not that they come instead of the things that are known at the moment. They come on top of the things that are known at the moment, or what comes out in the materiality analysis for your company or your client. So therefore, you have to better start basically now doing the materiality analysis and knowing which material topics there are. And then next year there will be additional topics, because a lot of topics are very much like given guidelines to, but not specifically on the KPI base for a complete sector, but like in generally formulated. So on top of that, the sector ones come on the 30th of June. So far, what we know, 2024. Okay, these are the questions so far. So I will go on. Next to the tooling which you just have seen, we created also a virtual CSRD consultant program. That means we have put all our knowledge into an e-learning environment, which is based on these 8 phases, which really has like a complete step-by-step program that internal company can follow, or a project manager can follow within a company completely by themselves, or even can connect to a bigger project group within their company, so that they can like move through it like step by step. Especially for the consultants, they probably know externally that the price always like is asked like, oh, make a smaller price, and how can we deal with it? And we don't have such a big budget. This will give you the possibilities to offer also for the smaller clients or the smaller companies of the CSRD part, possibility that they will be guided through it, but that you can offer additional consulting hours in that sense, because the whole e-learning program is not just like a e-learning, but it's very much like a guiding action step. So it's written from the perspective of an internal project manager within a company, so that you have templates for emails that needs to be sent out, PowerPoint presentations, small videos to explain things to your colleagues and team members, and templates for filling in specific process steps or preparing the materiality analysis within your company. So it's very much like a flexible support which can be set up within half a day. So that's no problem. That can start very quickly. But now further to how or what we additionally offer. We offer a CSRD Implementation Manager certification program, because we know that a lot of freelancers, a lot of change consultancies and sustainability consultancies are struggling with the idea that they say we can do the project management, and we can do the change part of the targets and everything, but we cannot do the data consulting part, and we don't have tooling, but we really want to support our clients, or we really want to have handier tools within our company to implement CSRD. We put together a certification program that has a time investment of 50 hours. These 50 hours are set together of 4 hours weekly self-study time, 6 online sessions, and 5 cases to prepare and present. So we will challenge you during this certification program and as tests basically to answer and try to prepare the most challenging moments we had basically with our clients back towards us, so that you can test yourself out whether you are growing towards a consultant that can handle the CSRD implementation. Within these sessions, there is a kickoff session. There are 5 bi-weekly online sessions, and these hours or these online sessions are 2 hours long, and they are all digital. So it's not needed to be in person here, or it's also possible to miss one session because they are recorded and you can look back to them basically. And then in the end, you have a CSRD implementation certification. For the external consultants, after this implementation manager certification program, it's the idea or it's the intention to work together afterwards, because we can support you with quality checks for the auditing trail, and we can also set up all the tooling. So you will get a kickback fee on all of the tools for the clients, but also to update you quarterly on all the changes within the law. So you know how to implement it, know how to interpret new governmental changes, and also we will include the CSRD, so the due diligence law that also comes up. So just to give you an overview of what is to come and how that looks like. For the internal project managers, after this training, there will be the e-learning for your company, so that you can take them along and that you really can implement it completely within your company. What are you actually able to do after completing the certification program? You can fully execute the project management for a CSRD project. You understand challenges and goals of each of the phases, especially the data-driven parts and the compliance parts of the law. You comprehend and understand all the different phases which we set up, and you can work also cross-functional. We see, and working together with the consultants we already certified, that for them it's very challenging to work either with HR or either with IT or with the CFO together, because they never have actually like done the one or the other. Either they worked in data or compliance, but hasn't worked really with the sustainability part together, or the other way around, that it's very challenging on the data part and the financial part, because they never had to like understand what an auditing trail is and how to really prepare a company for a yearly report. Furthermore, you can master definitely the double materiality analysis based on the ESRS, because that is definitely one of the challenging parts to really have a good report, because everything is based on the double materiality analysis. And you're also able to use data-driven tooling to support the company. Especially for external consultants, it's interesting because you will be able to manage more clients in a smaller amount of time with the tooling we have, because it's really much like scalable. And also, if you want to create a consultancy more in the CSRD world, or you want to set up a team within the CSRD world, you can scale with the virtual CSRD consultant. And also from beginning of next year on, our virtual CSRD consultant will be available in 10 different languages, and also a chatbot will be available, so that all your immediate questions can be answered 24/7. But also then we are there obviously to support you. So again, for whom is this course? We said it already, change consultants, sustainability managers, internal project managers, but also everyone else that is connected to the CSRD project. So we heard about compliance officers within a company or quality managers, and also data consultants externally are definitely welcome to join the course. It's an important part that you understand one part or this challenges basically of a company in general with the CSRD project in that sense. Yeah, and that you want to tackle and really want to work with in the CSRD field. So what can you expect from the training structure? So you have a kickoff training session to really do where we explain the project preparation, the current company KPIs, but also give you the perspective of a consultant on really the nitty-gritty part. So in each of the sessions, we really go in on your specific questions. We explain the phase you will go through in the e-learning program, which you will go through. And we will include completely and real-time challenges that we have. And for each of the sessions, you obviously prepare one of the challenges that two of you will present, and the others will get feedback on. The second session will be about the double materiality analysis. The third one about ESRS and combining all the KPIs and disclosure parts to set up the golden list of the requirements. Then the fourth training will be about preparing the organization for the continuous reporting. And with continuous reporting, we mean that a company is not only able to just pick up the data now this year for the first report, but obviously it will come every year. So like financial reporting, it has to become an intrinsic, or like not intrinsic, sorry, like a automated reporting cycle within the company. So that has to also like be understood. Who's communicating where, who's responsible to pick up the data, and which system is also saving the documents and the data. So you also have then the managing the data collection part in there. The fifth training will be about CSRD reporting, and then at the end it will be about the tooling and the closing session, and that's the certification ceremony together to really have formed a bond also, and a support group, because there's also a LinkedIn group where we support each other with projects. And the idea really after this training is that you belong also to a, in that sense, exclusive club of CSRD consultants, which we will check with quality checks and everything to get also clients from us. So the idea is not that you have to hustle and only get your own clients, but really that we also get a lot of requests so that we can also give based on your expertise, you clients from us, so that you can handle them as well. And here are the dates basically for the trainings. So you have seen it stands here training Q1, but it's actually like for Q4 this year. So in October till December, the next training is, and then in January till March is the next one. So we try to keep the groups as small as possible, so that we have plenty of time to answer all your questions, and also to really dive deep with you and have good discussions about all the topics. So here the dates from October the 12th. The next training will start, which goes till December 13th. And from January 19th to the 27th of March. So it's always like something about 2.5 months you can think of the training. And here you see also the time investment per phases and how to look at the program. I see another question. Is the impression correct that the training is about the content of the ESRSs and techniques and not about the process and change management, stakeholder management? It is about both. We really much tell you what the change management and stakeholder management is within a company, but also really the content of the ESRS itself. So really, how can you as a consultant or how can you as a project manager internal in a company can lead CSRD or implement CSRD for your company or for your client, basically. I hope that that answered your question. These are basically the all the parts basically of our presentation today. Are there any more questions which I can answer for you? So you can ask all your questions at csrd@moveteimpact.com. Thank you so much, Gwen. Good to have had you here. I see the question of like, can more than one people from a company attend the training? Yes, that's definitely possible. That's also an idea, especially, I mean, if you're an external consultancy, that's the idea definitely to have the possibility to bring more, but also for internal managers, it's definitely also a possibility to attend with more people. It's definitely important, especially for the internal project managers, to have the possibility basically after the training to also do the e-learning platform for the implementation. So please ask me specifically like whether you have internal or external needs to implement CSRD, and write them towards csrd@moveteimpact.com so we can provide you specific information for your field. The training, as I see as a question in the chat, is in English because then we can include everyone in that. Also, especially we have clients in Germany and Switzerland and also Belgium and Denmark. So they also need, in that sense, that support. But as I said, the virtual CSRD consultant is available in 10 languages from January on. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see more questions dribbling in at the moment, but thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Looking forward working with you together. Good luck with implementing CSRD in the companies. Don't forget the data part and to really support the companies in that also in the beginning, because it's quite a big implementation part. Thank you so much. Get in contact with us on csrd@moveteimpact.com or with me on LinkedIn at Skadi Mobius or on our company platform on LinkedIn, Move to Impact. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. Also, if you have specific questions which I haven't answered so far, send them to us. Thank you so much and have a good day. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Bye, Skadi. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.